Patrolling, Dale found such a scene. The farm's cattle were being eaten alive. When he turned to check, a zombie jumped directly at him. The terrifying sound rang through the sky, and Rick and the others heard it right away. The crowd quickly rushed out with weapons in hand. Dale was still struggling at this time. The zombie also failed to bite him, but his abdomen was torn open alive. The pain made him scream out. Daryl, who was closest to him, finally arrived and knocked the zombie out of the way in one fell swoop, then finished it off with his knife. Daryl looked at Dale's injuries and did not know what to do, shouting to the crowd, when Rick and several people arrived. Looking at Dale's injuries also felt incredible. Dale could not speak at this time. He only felt the pain deep in his bones. Rick was about to organize a rescue when Herschel stopped him and shook his head.
Listen to me. Okay, just listen.
Carl noticed the zombie at this time. It was the same one he had seen during the day. Maybe it was because of himself that he ran out. Thinking of this, Carl got scared and jumped into his mother's arms. Looking at Dale's painful appearance, they decided to give him a final ride. Rick pulled out a pistol and pointed it at Dale's head. He was always doing this himself, watching his teammates leave one by one, perhaps seeing Rick's mood. Daryl took the pistol.
Sorry, brother.
The next day, the group buried Dale in the cemetery and said a prayer. No one can forget this kind old man. If someone on the team were in trouble, Dale would be the first to see through it and try to give him comfort and guidance. Dale's death brought about some changes on the farm. Everyone started to check and repair the fence, scout the area around the farm, and eliminate the scattered zombies roaming around. Winter was approaching, and Herschel accepted Rick's team completely, letting them all move into the house. Rick then assigns everyone a task, and he and Daryl are ready to send Randall further afield to be released. This time he didn't ask Shane to go, but Rick instructed Andrea to keep an eye on Shane when they went out. As the man was too irritable and impulsive, Carl Jr. found Shane, then pulled a pistol from his waist, stating that he took it from Daryl's motorcycle. Shane asked Carl what he was doing with the gun. Carl tangled half a day before saying that Dale was indirectly killed by him. He had seen the zombie and originally wanted to kill Zombie, but he was afraid. If the zombie was killed at the time, Dale would not have died. Shane told Carl not to say that, then handed Carl the gun again and told Carl to carry it for protection. Carl had a shadow of it and said he didn't want to take the gun again. After a while, Lori saw Shane working on the windmill. He was lonely and had no one to help him. She came to Shane and talked about what was on her mind. She had been running away from Shane and Rick, turning him against his brothers and not even knowing whose baby was in his belly. She knew that Shane was very aggrieved to have led them to escape the zombie crisis despite the risk to his own life. Lori was a little emotional when she thought back to that scene. Shane wants to hug him, but he's not qualified to do so now. Lori says Shane has always protected them, but she never said thank you. Even though the relationship has become awkward, Shane is still watching over them. Lori thanked Shane very much. Shane choked up and told Lori she didn't have to say thank you. Lori finally told him she was sorry again. She gave Shane so much hope, and because of Lori's words, Shane's hope was rekindled. At this time Rick was studying with Daryl about going out. Shane drove here, told Rick about Carl and took the pistol out, and advised Rick to talk to his son, but Rick insisted that he should release Randall first. Shane said angrily, "Is Randall more important than Carl?" Rick thought about it and did care very little about his son. Then he found Carl, took out the pistol for Carl to hold, and told him that Dale's death had nothing to do with him, and that you were a grown-up child who had to protect your mother. Carl took over the pistol after his father enlightened him. We real-life parents also need to listen more to their children's ideas, so that they can feel the love of the family. Meanwhile, Shane came to the room where Randall was being held. After hearing Lori's words, he wants to protect and possess Lori again, and the baby in her belly is his. He had to eliminate all the dangerous elements and immediately slapped himself on the head and made up his mind, pulling out a pistol to kill Randall. But at this time, he seemed to see something. He pulled Randall away to see the boy had been breaking free from the handcuffs. Shane laughed, and a plan came to his mind. After a while, T-Dog was ready to take Randall out but opened the door and found that he had disappeared, leaving only the handcuffs with blood stains.
Hell no!
Shane, by now, has taken Randall to the woods. He tricks Randall, saying he will take him away from here, and wants to join Randall's team. Upon hearing this, Randall stopped being afraid and claimed that Shane would do well with them, and then led Shane towards the front and walked away from the farm. They came behind a large tree, followed by a muffled scream, and then came out only Shane. What happened is self-evident. At this time Shane even towards the trunk of the tree and crashed over. I have to say, this is a ruthless person. He hit his head bleeding and did not even say much. At this time, the people of the farm also found that Randall had disappeared. Shane hid and watched, then turned around and buried his pistol. With 2 deep breaths, he was about to start his show, then ran out and shouted for Rick.
Rick!
What happened?
He's armed! He's got my gun!
Shane lies to Rick that Randall has taken his weapon and attacked him. Rick rushes everyone back into the house and calls out to Daryl and Glenn to track him down. Shane again took a gun from T-Dog for protection, and the 4 of them went into the woods. Shane kept guiding them forward, but Daryl, good at tracking himself, didn't see any traces. Shane again suggested that Glenn and Daryl team up, and he and Rick team up and do different searches. Daryl raised his questions. The kid was weak. How could he have attacked you? Shane, however, says that a rock can take down anyone. Rick interrupted their argument and agreed to search in groups.
Glenn, start heading up the right flank. Me and Shane will take the left. Remember.
Throughout the night, Glenn and Daryl were still searching and soon found a tree with blood on it and signs of someone walking on the ground and saw a blindfold. While they were studying it, there was a noise behind them, and they immediately got ready. At this time a figure was coming in their direction. Glenn took a flashlight and shone it over. Randall had turned into a zombie. He immediately froze and was pushed to the ground by the zombie. Daryl's bow also misses, and he is pounced on by the zombie instead. Glenn immediately rushed up to help and took out the zombie with a slash. The 2 men adjusted their breathing, and Daryl began to look for clues on his body. But the strange thing is, they searched his body but found no signs of zombie bites. So how did he become a zombie? The only cause of death was a broken neck. The 2 men looked at each other. How was this possible? It simply did not make sense. On the other hand, Shane guided Rick to an open area. Rick was a police officer before the end of the world. Plus he knows Shane's character. This matter is certainly not what he said. Shane had already put his hand on the pistol and then stopped while talking. Rick understood something, stopped, and then put the pistol into the gun pouch.
So this is where you plan to do it?
He had already guessed that Shane had come here to kill him, but he didn't panic, but theorized with Shane, hoping he would come around. But Shane told Rick that he would go back and tell them that Randall had shot you, that he had rushed over and snapped his neck, and that Lori and Carl would drop you. With that, he raised the gun in his hand. Rick gets closer and closer and asks him what the hell he's doing all this for. You dominate my wife and want my children to call you father. Is that what you want? The 2 brothers confronted each other, and Shane voiced his grievances, shouting that I was a better father than you and a better man to be with Lori. Because I'm better than you, I can fight whenever and wherever I want, and you will only chatter there, and your resurrection from the dead has ruined it all. Rick just looked at him so calmly. Shane went on to say that your wife had lost her virginity, and your son was weak. After hearing his words, Rick really wanted to kill him, but still raised his hands, took out the pistol, and slowly handed it to Shane. He told Shane to calm down, put down the gun, let's pretend nothing happened, and go back together to Lori's side. Shane also relaxed his guard at this time and reached out to pick up the pistol. The knife went straight into Shane's chest. Rick angrily yelled at him, "You made me do it. You ruined our friendship. It's all your fault." Rick pulled out the knife. His emotions crumbled. His good brother protected his wife and son but possessed Lori. Now Sean also repeatedly forced himself. He can only fight back. Shane struggled for a few seconds and did not breathe. Rick, however, burst into tears. After a while, Rick calmed down. When he looked up, he found Carl standing there, looking at him at some point. Rick had mixed feelings, so he went over and tried to explain to Carl. Carl was in disbelief and raised the gun in his hand.
No.
Shane behind Rick surprisingly stood up. He has turned into a zombie. Carl saw it, but Rick only wanted to explain it to his son.
It seems, please.
Rick was a little confused about how Shane turned into a zombie and then went up to check. Carl shoots and kills a zombie for the first time, or his own Uncle Shane. His feelings are a bit complicated, but what the hell is going on here? Not bitten by a zombie can also become a zombie?